Why did you do that? What the hell? It's just an appraisal. The house is filled with all the memories of my parents. I was just curious how much it would sell for. Don't be so selfish. Don't complain about my way. If you don't like it, get out of here. My name is Lisa. I'm a 29-year-old office worker. I met my husband, Joshua, at a matchmaking party. I've always focused on my studies, and because I went to a girls' high school, I had never been in a relationship. So even in college, I couldn't break out of my shell and focused on my studies. Then I went straight into the workforce. After I got a job, I enjoyed my work very much and devoted myself to it every day. I was more and more distant from love. Before I knew it, I had reached the age of around 30. I was fine with that, but one day, when I went to my parents' house and my mother said to me, "I'm a little worried about your future." Apparently, she was concerned that I didn't have a boyfriend to consider marrying. My mother has always been warm and also supportive of me, so I was surprised that my mother felt that way. Dad too, he doesn't talk much, but he's still worried about you. Oh, really? Audrey, you don't have to say anything extra. Well, your sister Meg got married and had a baby. I'll be relieved if you'll be happy this time. I never thought that even my father felt that way. I realized that I've been doing whatever I wanted, without thinking deeply about my parents' feelings. I have been taking advantage of my parents' kindness. Of course, it's wrong to get married just for the sake of my parents, but I think I should start to face love and marriage and find a good person to reassure my parents. Since then, I started to seriously think about marriage. I used to wear really simple makeup and wear a combination of cheap clothes at random. I thought I needed to change my appearance, so I decided to ask my sister to help me. Oh, have you fallen in love? I'm getting ready to fall in love. What is that? What is that? My sister laughed but politely told me and her daughter how to apply makeup. She also took me to various clothing stores to learn how to coordinate our outfits. I bought a lot of clothes while learning how to coordinate them. My sister used to be a hairdresser, so she had a good sense of style and was a great reference for me. Thanks to her, I look so much better than I used to. I even got compliments from people at work. Then, one of my co-workers came and said to me, "I heard about this event. Would you like to participate?" and showed me the website of a certain matchmaking party. I thought this was a great opportunity and decided to attend. There were all kinds of people at the matchmaking party. I was surprised to see so many people of all ages who wanted to get married. At the party, I met Joshua, who later became my husband. Joshua is the same age as me. He has been working as a construction worker since he graduated from high school. He told me that he really wanted to go to college, but he couldn't get a permission from his parents. They told him to get out of their house as soon as possible and kicked him out. Joshua went to a boys' school all his life and has never been in a relationship. And when he reached his current age, he got in a hurry and decided to join a matchmaking party. I felt close to him when I heard that story. Of course, unlike me, he was in a very difficult situation. I think he went through more hardship than I did, but I was also attracted to him for the reason. We exchanged contact information and met several times. Joshua was very patient with my shyness and took his time with me. After 2 years of dating, we finally got married. It was when I turned 31 years old. My parents were very happy with my marriage. I thought I was supposed to greet his parents as well. But he refused to do so because he had already cut off all ties with them. So he asked me to take him into my family. My parents and I took his situation into consideration and decided to take him into my family. We decided to have a small and quiet wedding ceremony with only our relatives since we did not invite his parents. My parents cried when they saw me in my wedding dress. They were very moved. Seeing my parents like that made me realize how happy I was have gotten married. Now I have done something dutiful to my parents. That's how I felt. My life with my husband was very happy and joyful. My husband took very good care of my parents. After we got married, I frequently went home to see them. Mother, are you feeling all right? Sir, let's go fishing next time if you like. Seeing my husband speak kindly to my parents made me feel very warm. However, a few years after our marriage, something unexpected happened. It was while I was at work. My mother called me out of the blue. It's not often that my mother calls me at work. Something must have happened. Lisa, come to the hospital quickly. Your father passed out. No way. My mind went blank. My father passed out? He was fine when I saw him at my parents' house just a few days ago. My boss asked me, "Are you okay?" I came back to my senses. I left work early and rushed to the hospital. Lisa! Mom! When I arrived, my mother and sister were already waiting in front of the treatment room with anxious expressions on their faces. I joined my mother in praying for my father's survival, but my father didn't make it. He just passed away. My father died in his sleep with a lifeless face. My mother broke down in tears at the sight of my father. Why? He was so healthy until this morning. Seeing my mother's sadness made me even sadder. I thought I wanted to do something for her, so I asked her if she could come and live with us. But she said, "That house is my precious house filled with our memories. I will never leave this house." I was worried about my mother, but she insisted so hard that there was nothing I can do. I visited my mother's house more often and take care of her. A few months later, my sister divorced and moved back home with her daughter. I felt a little relieved. As long as my sister could take care of my mother, she would be fine, I thought. However, a few months later, my sister informed me that my mother has passed away. According to my sister's story, my mother would act cheerful in front of us, but she was alone and she could hear her crying. My sister said that she tried to care about my mother as much as possible and talk to her as much as she could, but my mother was still somewhat preoccupied. She gradually lost her energy even in front of my sister. She stopped eating properly and became weak. No matter how many times my sister tried to get her to the hospital, she wouldn't listen to her. She passed out while she was shopping at the supermarket. By the time she arrived at the hospital, it was already too late. It had been less than a year since my father's death, and now even my mother had passed away. I wished I had called her more often or gone to see her instead of leaving it up to my sister alone. I regretted this so much. I wish I had been more sensitive to my mother's heartbreak and grief. I couldn't regret enough. My husband wrote my back and comforted me as I sobbed at her funeral. I'm glad I have a husband. He is there to support me when I'm going through a difficult time. And I'm so glad I got my parents to see me married before they passed away. After my mother's funeral, My sister and I still had a lot of paperwork to do. The most important thing was to take care of my parents' house. My sister and I had the same thought. The house that holds memories of our father and mother. We would never let it go. After talking it over, that my sister would continue to live in my parents' house with their daughter, now that everything was settled. We returned to our normal routine. Then suddenly, I got a phone call from my sister. Hello, what's wrong? What? Her voice was somewhat brusque and weak. Actually, a real estate agent came to our house just now. What? A real estate agent? Why? Well, he said he came to assist the house. What do you mean? I don't really understand either. But I thought you or I were the only ones who could contact a realtor about this house. No, I didn't contact them. We talked it over and we decided that we're definitely going to keep my parents' house. I know, right? I'm sorry, I knew that, but I just wanted to make sure. So, what happened with the real estate agent? I told him that I didn't request an appraisal and asked him to leave. Who in the world would have requested appraisal? Oh, by the way, I got a business card from the real estate agent. Really? Give me the company's phone number and the name of the person in charge. My sister gave me the contact information for the real estate agent, and I made a phone call. And I gave them my name, the address of the house, etc., and asked them to put me on the phone with the person in charge. The person in charge picked up the phone and said that he had indeed visited the house to do assessment. Neither my sister nor I made this request. Really? Oh, by the way, the client was a man. Huh? He had the same last name, so I assumed he was your brother. I hung up the phone and went straight to my husband. Hey, Joshua. Yup, what's up? Did you request an appraisal of my parents' house from the real estate agent? I asked him. Then he said, yes, with a look that said, what's the problem with that? Why would you do that? What's wrong with an appraisal? That house is filled with my mother and my father's memory, you know. I just made a decision with my sister not to sell it. Don't be so mad. I was just wondering how much it would go for. It's a little too big for your sister and kid to live in. Then I think it's better to sell it, exchange it for money and share it with everyone. That's what I asked for an appraisal. Don't be so selfish. What the hell? I'm part of your family too, so I have the right to decide what to do with the house. Don't be so... You made me feel like I'm left out. That's not what I'm talking about. Shut up! Don't complain about my way. If you don't like it, get out of here. Saying that, my husband went into his room. I was shocked to hear him say this out of the blue. I thought he understood my feelings. Why on earth was he doing an appraisal of my parents' house? Did he really need the money so badly? I thought something was fishy, so I hired a detective agency to investigate. Then, I found out a terrible thing. My husband had a debt of $100,000. I was astonished to know this fact. I took a day off from work and left the divorce papers while he was out. I packed my belongings and left home. I explained the situation and returned to my parents' house with my sister. Later that evening, I got a phone call from my husband. Hey, what's going on? Your stuff is all gone. And what's with the divorce papers? What the hell is going on? I'm moving out and divorcing you. What? What the hell do you mean? I left because you told me to leave if I didn't like your way. Well, I did say that, but I didn't think you'd even try to divorce me. I don't trust you anymore. That's a lot for one little argument. I'm not divorcing you because we had a fight over the house. I'm saying I'm divorcing you because you've been hiding something terrible. What are you talking about? You owe a lot of money. How did you know that? I checked with the detective agency. How did you get $100,000 in debt? Well, that's My husband gave up and told me everything. My husband had a co-worker at work who said he made a lot of money from foreign exchange. He was so envious that he also started to do it himself, but it didn't work out as well as he wanted to, so he tried to recover his losses. But his losses kept growing and growing, and he got so absorbed in it. And when he realized it, he had lost a tremendous amount of money. I can't believe it. Why didn't you stop before you lost more money? I'm so sorry. It's just that I easily get into this kind of gambling. You know, my husband told me something when we first got married. His parents had always been addicted to gambling, such as casino and lottery. That's why there's always no money in the house. You're doing the same thing as your parents. My husband was so shocked by my words that he shut up after that. I can't get your trust back once I've lost it. With that, I hung up the phone and demanded a divorce through my lawyer. He pleaded with me several times that he would change his mind and ask me to reconsider, but I told the lawyer that I would not withdraw my request for divorce. Eventually, my husband gave up and signed the divorce papers. The divorce was finalized. It's not that I wasn't moved by my husband's words that he would change his mind, but I was afraid that something might happen in the future. I stubbornly kept my stance of trusting my instincts and divorcing him, and I came to realize that my decision was right. One day, when I borrowed his computer while he was out, I had to find out that he had searched online gambling. In short, my husband wanted to pay off his debts as soon as possible. He took a gamble that would make him a quick buck. Perhaps the debt is growing rapidly now. Then I think about it, I'm really glad we got divorced. In the meantime, I have a restraining order against my ex-husband. If he comes to my parents' house, I can call the police and repel him. In spite of all the sad things that happened for these few years, I feel like I'm mentally stronger now. My parents are dead, but I have a sister and a niece, so I will live happily for my parents while protecting this house together with my sister. You have done a very good job in a very hard time, Lisa. I think it was admirable that you were able to take a firm stand against your husband's addiction to gambling and force him to divorce you. It is sad that your parents have passed away, as you said. Please live a happy life for your parents, and since you are still young, I hope you will be blessed with a good encounter next time. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you like. See you in the next video.